Welcome back to the channel, or to the channel. When you're first getting started, you've got so many games to choose from. You've got games like Assetto Corsa Competizione, Assetto Corsa Evo, LMU, so Le Mans Ultimate, iRacing, Automobilista 2, R-Factor 2, and Raceroom, along with many others like Beam MG. I think it's important when you're starting sim racing on a budget to know which ones you should avoid and which ones you should definitely look at. So you're looking at, are they the best value for money? Are they good value for money? Can you have enjoyment? But I think it's important also to look at when you're first starting off. If you've not really played before, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, your friends. But if you've not really played, you don't want to be going out there and wasting lots of money on things that you play once and you never play again. It's the same as when it comes to your steering wheel. You don't want to be wasting lots of money on a steering wheel when this isn't really the hobby for you. Maybe you thought it was going to be, and it turns out it wasn't quite for you. So that's what this video is going to be for, not the steering wheel. I do have another video on your steering wheel, by the way, what I recommend. And I will be doing a review on this steering wheel soon. Stay tuned for that. I'll put down in the description the video for the steering wheels and what I think you should recommend you should start on. But when it's looking at games, there's two games that I'm going to go over here that I recommend that all people starting sim racing begin with, because they are the best value for money. And best value for money, what I'm looking at, is something that pretty much anyone can start on, and maybe the ceiling isn't too high. There's a lot included in the title. There are going to be other games out there that you can get, but I recommend starting with these. And the first game I am going to recommend that you get straight away is free to start, and that is Raceroom Race Experience. There's no reason why you shouldn't have this game, because exactly what I've just said before, it's free. Why wouldn't you? You might as well plug in your steering wheel and download this game, available on Steam, and try it out for yourself. So the first category that we're going to put here is price. What's the price of the game? And we're going to score these two games out of 10. So this one, RO for 8 Raceroom. And we're going to give it a 10 out of 10 for price. Again, that is to start with. So we have got the 10 out of 10 here for price. Ignore my writing. I am absolutely terrible at writing. So obviously it's a 10 out of 10 because it's free. However, there is the caveat. And the caveat is, if you do enjoy this game and you want to continue with this game, then the original price will go up, because this is a game that you buy the cars, you buy the car groups, and you buy the tracks. You do get a lot of, you get like maybe 4 or 5, I think it's 4 or 5 tracks for free. So this is why I tell you to start with this one, because you don't have to spend money, and if you don't like the game, then you don't pay. But we'll put the price, but cost. So this is of the content for the game. And as games, most games you also have DLC. So we'll put DLCs into cost as well. The cost for this, it's not like an iRacing where you have to pay a subscription. You only buy the cars, and once you've paid for the car or the track, that's yours for life. You don't have to pay again. There's no subscription on top. So for cost, it gets a 5. A 5 out of 10. Because it can, if you were to buy all the content, it can lead to quite a lot, especially if you buy it. Which I do not recommend you do this. But if you're desperate, you might have to, if you're desperate for that car. Like, you buy it when it's off sale. But there's many sales and where it can be 90% off. Right now, I would recommend, if you buy this today, so this is in 2026, and this is April, you'll get 90% off the online collection, which includes quite a few tracks. You'll end up having about 20 tracks in total, and it'll give you cars from all the main groups, and that can get you, if you wanted to play online, it can get you there. So that brings us to the next thing, online access. Now this is, as a beginner, this isn't something that I recommend you going straight in. So I should have put this at the end, but I'm going to put it now. So it's online. And this is, what is its online gameplay like? Is it easy to get in the lobbies? Is it difficult? What are the lobbies like? And for this, I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10. So it's easy to get in the lobbies. And you'll get put in, as long as there's enough players, you'll get put in like a group being pretty much the same kind of driver as yourself, which is really good. So it gives you a good chance. And the only thing is later on, so this is ranked gameplay, later on at night, you might end up in like the first lobbies, and also the more bottom down lobbies you will find are the bad drivers. The drivers that do not care what you're doing. So it's getting a 7. So far we've got price for 10, because it's free. Then we've got 5 for your cost. So that's like DLCs, but because this game isn't DLCs, you just pretty much pay for every bit of content after that, and there's not a lot to begin with, because again, the price is free. It's more like a demo for free, I suppose you could say. And online, we're getting a 7. It's not bad, it's actually really good, but there's the thing that players does dwindle later on in the night, and they can, especially to begin with, be a bit erratic. Offline. So we're scoring this offline. What are we given for offline though? So it must have good AI. This is probably the most important part for starting sim racing. Yes, you can free practice, and free practice is pretty much something that you can do on every single game. But to start to test yourself, I don't recommend going online straight away and playing against other players if you're not necessarily good at the game, because you can ruin it. It'll be ruined for yourself because you just won't be good enough. And you might ruin it for other people because you have to be a decent driver to avoid contact. So I recommend offline before online. I know I've done them the other way around, but offline is an extremely important aspect of any game. And that includes the AI and the tracks. So you have to have a decent amount of tracks to play offline, but the most important thing is AI. So we're going to score the offline gameplay on AI. AI for Raceroom, it's not perfect. We're going to give it a 9, because it's, to me, out of all of them, there's 2 games which have very good AI. Le Mans Ultimate and Raceroom Racing Experience. They're not perfect because there's no game out there at the moment that has absolutely perfect AI. But it's pretty damn close. So that gets a 9. And the last category I'm going to grade, because graphics isn't a big thing. So we're going to ignore that. The last category we are grading today is content. What has the best content? Now, we're going to have to base this on 2 aspects, and that is how much content there is that you can buy, but also how much content you get with the base game. So because this game is free, you don't get a lot of content, so straight away it's going to take a bit off. However, if you were to buy everything or buy the online pack, then the content becomes quite good, especially the fact that you have to add on, it's got a decent online mod. It's got ranked gameplay based into this sim. And we're also going to have a bonus. Just down here, we're going to put a bonus. And this bonus, I should have put into it, but we'll get onto that. So for content, because it's got so much, but then it doesn't have a lot to begin with, we're going to give it a score of 6. It's brilliant content-wise, but you will have to spend more money. And the bonus is how it handles. But this is not handling on a sense that ultra realism. It has to be realistic, sure, because it's a sim racing game. But I think as a beginner, it needs to be fun. And it needs to be more beginner friendly. So for this game, I'm going to give the bonus of 8. It's getting a bonus score of 8 for its handling. It's really good at handling by one car that I've raced. And I'll give you a little hint. GT3 McLaren 2025. Don't buy it. It wants to spin. Unless you are really good at sim racing already, in which you're not a beginner, I do not recommend this car. Now, Raceroom's total score. So this is out of 60. For its total score, Raceroom will get a score of 45. Raceroom's score is 45 out of 60. So as a recap, Raceroom, 10 out of 10 for price, 5 out of 10 for cost, 7 out of 10 for online gameplay, 9 out of 10 for offline, 6 out of 10 for content, and 8 out of 10 for the bonus category of handling. I should probably write handling. Bear in mind, it's not really a bonus. It should be baked into it. I just don't want to scratch this off. So there we've got 45 out of 60. Very, very good. Now you've got all the other games, and I'm going to cover some of them just here. So for cheapness, we have to cover Assetto Corsa, the original set Assetto Corsa. There's a reason why I'm not going to put it into the top 2 games here, and we'll get into that in a minute. But Assetto Corsa, brilliant game, brilliant physics, and yes, I would recommend it as a buying game, but after you've bought these 2 games, simply for the game itself is dead. There's no more updates by Kunos themselves. And it's quite old, it's kind of aging. And the AI isn't even worth racing. They're absolutely terrible. What I do recommend this game for is if you are into track games, just for tearing around the track, you don't want to race necessarily online because I believe the netcode is quite bad, and you're not really caring about racing the AI, you just want to race around the track, you just want to drive all of these other cars. Now the base game doesn't give you a lot, really, in that way, but the modding community. So if you're quite technical, you know what you're doing, and if you're not, there is many videos on YouTube where you could get a lot more technical and download the companion and that you can get for Assetto Corsa. It's definitely worth buying. You can get it really cheap. You can literally pick it up on places like loaded.com for probably about £10, and that gives you all the DLCs. It isn't a lot, really, in the grand scheme of things, especially against like Raceroom. But it's worth it if you've got that money, but not as your first game. First game, Raceroom. Definitely recommended. And the second one, if you've watched this channel for the past 3 years, you'll probably be able to guess the next one. This channel started as it being the second, like the game. It originally started with Forza Motorsport. We'll not get into that. Don't buy it. It's dead anyway. It's Automobilista 2. Now the reason I have to put this in is because Automobilista 2 is the most complete Sims if you were just to buy the bottom, like the actual, just the main Automobilista 2 and not buy any DLCs. It's got so many tracks included in there, for it's very cheap. You can sometimes get this game for £10. Yes, it's not free, that's why Raceroom is the one I recommend. There's no reason not to download that game. Absolutely no reason, because it costs you nothing. Automobilista 2 will cost you something. It will literally cost you £10 though. And for that, because of the amount of content you get in its base package, it gets a price and a score 8. Can't really fault it. Only one game cheaper when it comes to like content, but like starting out. Yes, Assetto Corsa might be cheaper now, but it's just good. This game is still receiving updates, and it's just got so much more than Assetto Corsa that I cannot tell you to pick Assetto Corsa. Even people who come out and say it's more realistic. I cannot recommend that game over Automobilista 2 for a beginner. For the cost, so this is once you add in DLCs. The DLCs though will give you so much more. Basically, Raceroom, if you were to buy all the content, especially if it's not on sale, it's probably going to cost you around £150 to £200. That is an estimate, I'm not doing the maths. But Automobilista 2, well, the content that you get, the DLCs, you could get a couple of tracks, you could get quite a few cars in them. They're not all priced as one car on one track. And your cost is usually quite cheap. It's usually like £10 or whatever, £10-15, depending on the size of the DLC. So, and you can get like yearly passes and that for like £70 or whatever. So that's like a price of a game, but it gives you all the DLCs for the whole year. Sometimes even longer. It could give you all the DLCs up to that point, especially during the sales. It could cost you just £70 and you get so much more content. And that's with the amount of content you get on the base game. So it gets another score of 8. We're not going to talk about the online gameplay first on this one. We are going to talk about the offline gameplay. And this again is where it comes in big. Because again, its AI is really good. It's maybe not quite as good as Raceroom Experience though. That's the only thing. Raceroom Experience, I think the AI... I've never been barged off the track with Raceroom. And yes, it could sometimes be my driving. Maybe I brake too much, but you do sometimes get pit manoeuvred in Automobilista. And for that reason, the offline is going to get a score of 8 and not Raceroom's 9. Now we go back to online. Online gameplay is where Automobilista 2 does kind of fall. It's not big on online. This is why I recommend it to a beginner. Straight away a beginner, because most beginners are going to do track days and racing the AI. And I suggest that's what you do at the start to get good at the game. Those games are all based around online. I don't really think it's a recommendation for at least a beginner, if you're not used to your wheel especially and stuff like that. But the online gameplay for Automobilista, there's an online in the game, but it's mainly joining individual servers. It's not really baked into the game. If you wanted something like a ranked thing like on Raceroom, you're going to have to go to an external website like LFM, Low Fuel Motorsport. They have like online races that you'll go to. I think you have to do some kind of like license thing. They'll have a look at it, and then you get put in the lobbies, whatever lobby you are, and they'll give you the server like ID. You'll then go back to Automobilista 2 to join the server. So a bit annoying, especially for a newbie, to get into online racing where you should have to go into Google, like Google Chrome browser, and go on an external website. It's really not baked in. I think it is something that Automobilista 2 is looking at. So for that, we can only really give it a 3. It is there. There is options. So it's not all bad, but it's not really good. Content though. So this is the size of the content. Once you have everything with Automobilista 2, all the DLCs, this game is huge. It's got like an option of everything. It's really good with Formula 1 cars and stuff like that. Absolutely superb. So for content, I have to give Automobilista 2 a 9. There's just something for everything. You've got GT3 cars. You've got old touring cars, mainly Brazilian touring cars. You've got minis. You've even got your rallycross. You've got all these things, all these different things. So there's something for everyone. And if you don't know what you want to race yet, look at Automobilista 2, because it might show you what you want to race, but there is a word of caution, and that takes us to our final part, the bonus of, and its handling. Again, not really a bonus. And this is the sticking point of Automobilista 2. It's not bad handling. But actually, the Formula 1 cars, all the Formula series, they're actually really good at handling. And every car's it's got better at handling. But it still has an issue when it comes to cars like GT3. I can only describe it by the car themselves feeling like they're stuck and they just kind of turn in the middle. So it's not on rails, it just kind of like turns in the middle and it's rooted there. It's really hard to describe. You'll find the front is turned and it's almost like it's got oversteer, but not. I honestly, I don't know. You would have to play it to find out, but it doesn't apply to all the cars, and to be fair, it's not near as bad as it used to be, and it's actually gotten better. But because of that, I can only give Automobilista 2 in the handling a 6. I was going to give it a 5, but I don't really think that's fair, because I don't think this should be a defining point. I still think this is one of your biggest games that you should buy, and I massively recommend it, but it's just not quite there in regards to Raceroom. I actually find Raceroom is actually easier to drive in most cars than Automobilista 2. Automobilista 2, I don't know if it's because of that characteristic I explained earlier, but you do have a tendency of sometimes skidding out, just like losing it, and the car spinning more easily than I've done on any other game. So that gives Automobilista a total score of, out of 60 again, it gives it a total score of 42 out of 60. It scored 8 out of price, 8 out of cost. That's where it beats. It actually beat Raceroom in that, because Raceroom can become more expensive if you are going to really go out and spend on it. But again, you don't need to. If you don't like if you're not interested in that content, you don't do it. It's awful. Online gameplay is where it falls down. It only gets a 3 out of 10. It is there, but it's certainly not that good. It's not near as good as Raceroom, and falls massively behind anything like iRacing or Le Mans Ultimate. Offline gameplay, very similar to Raceroom. There's really not much about these. I could have scored on graphics as well, but I think both these games are completely acceptable. Automobilista 2 might be it's a bit better graphics, but they're so optimized and this works so well. I don't think it matters. Content, where Raceroom got 6, Automobilista 2 got 9. That's where it does win, because I believe even if you bought everything on Raceroom, I just think Automobilista's content is definitely more integrated, and I think there's more. There might not be more, but that's what I feel. And the handling, Raceroom, not 100% realistic, but pretty close for a game, especially that I can tell a beginner to buy. So it's getting an 8, and Automobilista 2 is getting a 6. Now, some more recommendations after you buy these games that you should think about purchasing. Again, the original Assetto Corsa, I can't look over that, look past it, especially for track days and all the modding content. God, you could drive a Tyrannosaurus Rex, whatever, make of that what you will. Le Mans Ultimate. If you're specifically after that type of car, so a hypercar or a GT3 car, then there really is no better game. Now that Assetto Corsa Competizione is pretty much dead, Le Mans Ultimate is definitely the top for GT3 cars. The GT3 cars are so much better to drive than Automobilista 2. Raceroom is easier, though. So yeah, I have to give them an honourable mention. Minusing out the McLaren, Raceroom is easier than Le Mans Ultimate. So again, for beginners, Raceroom over Le Mans Ultimate. But if you really want to drive them cars, you can't look past Le Mans Ultimate, but the cost. Buying the base game doesn't give you a lot of content. There's a few cars, a few tracks. So you're going to want to buy DLCs, or you're going to want to subscribe to the package to play. Well, you don't need it to play online, but it adds to it. You can complain about people and stuff like that, and it gives you all the DLCs, and that's something like £13 a month if you're paying monthly, maybe £10 a month if you pay yearly, and a big one. But you can see that's quite expensive compared to Automobilista 2, so I can't recommend it for someone starting. It's definitely not the first game I would recommend. I can also recommend for rally enthusiasts. You've got WRC, but it's kind of dead. It's very fun. So WRC, for its fun and it's got quite a lot of content. As a career mod, it's not too good. So if you are a rally enthusiast, I recommend that or Dirt 2.0, which again is a dead game. And then, of course, we have Assetto Corsa Rally. Very good game. Probably not the best for beginners. It is a lot harder to handle. But yeah, there is these options. There's so many options when it comes to sim racing that I really can't differentiate once you're past a beginner. Once you've bought your first two games, Raceroom and, well, not even buying, but Raceroom and Automobilista 2, that you would have to buy slightly for a couple of £10. Then there's so many options. But I would recommend only buying Raceroom and Automobilista 2 to begin with. Find out if you like it. Find out you're going to stick to it. Find out you're going to have time to do it. Then look at other things. Look at upgrading your steering wheel. Look at upgrading your pedals. Look at buying a cockpit, a full rig. Look at buying new games. But only once you know you like this. You know you're going to stick to it. You know you're getting the time to do it. Because otherwise, you're just going to be wasting your money. And that's what this channel is based on. Finding you good value products that you won't waste your time and, most importantly, your money on. So get out there. If you've just got into sim racing, you've just got your steering wheel. I should also add, this is based on PC gaming. If you are on console, neither of these games exist. And I really don't have to do a beginner's guide for a console because you're so limited to Gran Turismo, Forza Motorsport, yes, ACC, very base AC, and dare I say it, Project Motor Racing. Yeah, I said it. This is my guide for starting sim racing on a PC today as a beginner, looking at quality and value over everything else. If you found this useful, please consider hitting that like button. Please consider subscribing to the channel, where I'll be doing more of these kind of value things and what my do's and don'ts for both of these, what I've learned after starting and then using them for so long. And until the next one, thank you very much for watching. Again, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, peace out.
That's all, folks.